Hi, it's November 25th, 2015. It's just after 5 p.m. here in London or 1 p.m. in New York. I'll be talking at the moment about war and silver. And many of you might think, why? What's that? What do war and silver have to do with each other? Well, I'm looking here at the Silver Investor website, silver-investor.com, and there's an article published in November 2004 by Charles Savoy, and I quote, and he says, "Let's take a look at the need for silver as a vital resource material necessary to warfare. We won't be able to examine any detailed weapons breakdown of specific items by exact silver content from one defense contractor to another on a current basis, because that information isn't readily available. I can tell you that as of January 2nd, 1980, nearly a quarter of a century past, that's when he wrote the article, 2004, some 84,000 military parts, aircraft, submarines, etc., contain precious metal, mostly silver." And he's quoting that from the Wall Street Journal, an article from January 2nd, 1980 on page 10. He continues, "American superconductor and intermagnetics general won't openly discuss how much silver they will need for superconducting cables. That's probably an understanding with the COMEX shorts, anything to suppress projected silver demand statistics. As you probably know, America has been without a silver stockpile for a strategic defense application for several years. We weren't swimming in silver as we were going into World War II." So he goes on and on about the use for silver during war and how it's used a lot for all kinds of weapons and how it's used a lot more than gold. So I won't go further into that. The reason I'm bringing this up is that unfortunately it looks like with what's happening in the world, Friday the 13th, the terrorist attack in Paris, the Russian warplane being shot down in Syria the other day, well, yesterday. The world is becoming a much more dangerous place. And there's a lot of talk and writing about the possibility of a third world war. So that's why I'm bringing this subject up about silver and war. The other point I'd like to make is that in the last 6 months or so, there's been a lot of talk in the alternative media, especially in the precious metals camp, of how J.P. Morgan has been accumulating a lot of physical silver. And we all know that the U.S. Treasury, the financial arm of the U.S. government, is a big client. It's a client of J.P. Morgan. So if you put two and two together, maybe that's why they're accumulating all this physical silver for the U.S. Treasury, because they know there will be some kind of conflict in the future, and you need a lot of silver to wage war. During World War I, for example, I'm continuing to read here from Charles Savoy article. It says here, reflecting increased industrial activity and shortage of other metals because of their need for the war effort, the consumption of silver in industry in the United States is running at the record rate of 120 million to 130 million ounces yearly. This represents an increase of about 50% over 81 million ounces consumed last year, and is 3 times the 40 million ounces used in 1940. Until the Japanese invasion, the moderate output of Burma was finding an outlet. The change in the silver picture is the result of the use of silver for war purposes. In addition to some new uses, it is in demand as a substitute for other metals. The film industry is continuing to consume in large amounts. So yeah, this is Charles Savoy quoting from the New York Times in 1942 article from the New York Times. And basically back then the title of this article was how this year consumption in industry this year is put at a record 120 million ounces needed in war effort. So silver is a highly needed metal in conventional war, at least, and of course a nuclear war probably not, because you use nuclear weapons, the whole world will be the Fourth World War, as Einstein said, will be fought with sticks. But it looks to me that that there's a lot of conventional weapons being used at the moment, and that ISIS seems to be, in the past people used to think you don't fight terrorism with a conventional army or forces, but it seems that ISIS is becoming more and more like a conventional army, air force, or even navy. They might even in the future get those sectors of the armed forces. So I would expect if there was a global conflagration between NATO, Russia, and if China got involved, a lot of silver would be needed for all these weapons. So yeah, maybe that's why we're seeing JP Morgan acquire so much physical silver, and maybe that's why it has been so frustrating for silver investors, with the price being suppressed for the last 4 years. But maybe there's a plan, by the powers that be to accumulate a lot of physical silver in anticipation of a global war. Who knows? The other thing I'd like to point out today is more market related, and if we look at gold and silver today, they haven't done particularly well. Silver is trading at $14.16 spot silver. We traded down to 1402. Gold is at 1,072. It's down $3. So still being kept down quite a bit. But one thing I'm looking at the moment is the share price of Hecla Mining. Hecla Mining is up about 2% today. Hecla Mining is the largest primary silver producer in the U.S. and also one of the lowest cost producers of silver, and it's also a growing gold producer. Hecla Mining was established in 1891, so it's over 100 years old as a company, so a very solid record. It's been quoted on the New York Stock Exchange for 50 years, and I've been following the stock, and Hecla Mining today is trading around $2, so it's up about $4.50. And I've got this chart here of Hecla Mining. Hopefully you can see it properly. In the last, in the previous, like this year so far, we've seen it drop 4 times, as you can see, and recently as well, just below $1.80 to around $1.78. And as you can see, there's also been a falling wedge, of which the market's been trying to break out of. It tried earlier in October here, and it failed when the price of gold and silver were, pummeled. And now it looks like it's trying to get back up, and we're almost making new recent highs here in Hecla Mining. And it looks like we have a quadruple bottom here. So this 178, 180 level is holding quite well. So this might be pointing to a bottom in the silver price and even the gold price, because Hecla Mining is a growing gold producer as well. It used to be purely a silver producer, but it's yeah, as I said, it's expanding into the gold market as well. So yeah, I think we need to keep an eye on the price of silver. It's very important in conventional weaponry for war, and much more important than gold. So we could see silver price lead the gold price higher if the situation in the Middle East escalates. Let's hope it doesn't, but if it does, those people who are holding physical silver should do well from that. As the Chinese say, you know, crisis and opportunity are two sides of the same coin. Have a good Thanksgiving for the people in the U.S., and for the rest of the world, have a good second half of the week. Take care.